Another breaking news coming in. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has responded to US President Donald Trump's statement on continuing negotiations with New Delhi.
And Washington, of course, between New Delhi and Washington, and that is to address trade barriers between the US and India. Taking to social media, Modi said that India and US, they are close and natural partners, and expressed confidence that the trade negotiations will pave the way for unlocking what he called limitless potential of the India-US partnership. He affirmed that both sides were working to conclude the discussions at the earliest.
This is the latest that we're getting right now. Of course, as you know, Donald Trump had issued a statement earlier saying that he's ready to come to the negotiations table to address the trade barriers between the two countries, saying that he's looking forward to speaking with his very good friend, and that's Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, to which the Indian Prime Minister has now issued a response.
So negotiations are very much on track, and this is what the Indian Prime Minister has said. Both sides are working and they will conclude the discussions at the earliest.
Right, so the Indian Prime Minister has responded to President Donald Trump's statement on continuing negotiations between New Delhi and Washington to address the trade barriers between the two countries. As you know, Donald Trump had imposed a cumulative 50% tariff on Indian goods, and this was apparently to punish India over its purchase of Russian oil, something that really plunged the ties between the two nations to perhaps the lowest point in decades. That being said, there is some sign of progress, as Donald Trump mentioned that he is looking forward to having discussions on trade barriers with his very close friend, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. For more on this, our Assistant Editor for Foreign Affairs, Siddhant Sibal, is joining us on the phone line right now. Siddhant, what can you tell us?
Well, I would say significant remarks, both by Donald Trump and by the Indian Prime Minister. Donald Trump, of course, announcing the restart of trade talks in many ways, something that was stalled for the past few months. And it had a long shadow, primarily because of the comments made by himself, Donald Trump, by his trade advisor, and by, of course, the U.S. Commerce Secretary. Insulting comments, but of course now green shoots of recovery we saw over the weekend. The Indian Prime Minister reciprocating the comments by the U.S. President Donald Trump. Now, of course, the Indian Prime Minister was saying that when it comes to the comments made by the U.S. President, saying that trade negotiations will pave way to unlock the limitless potential in the India-U.S. relationship. Now, we also need to see the context. The big context is that this is happening just days after the SCO summit, where the Indian Prime Minister met with other world leaders, including the Russian and the Chinese leader. Now, the U.S. President was obviously not very happy about it. He made comments about it, saying that we have lost India. But a restart in many ways, I would say, a minor reset in many ways, even though at the official level, we saw the conversation was underway, the exercises were happening in Alaska. But there is also a big question regarding it. The stance taken by the U.S. President, the blow for the U.S. President, the U.S. side, is something that obviously brings up about globally a concern over where the U.S. policies are. Can we trust U.S. is the big question for many global capitals today.
Thanks, Siddhant, for getting us the latest. And of course, a lot of statements which came in from the US President, calling India a dead economy, going on to say we've lost India, and now finally saying negotiations are on track. And the Indian Prime Minister has responded when the time was right. That was Siddhant Sibal getting us the latest.